Hello YYC, welcome to another weekly episode here at the YYC Real Estate Show. Welcoming in the month of May, so the first podcast of May. Today we have our guest, Jonathan Handbrook from Red Brick Home Inspections. So excited to have him here. As always, Zach Fulton, Sebastian, Shiraz. So let's begin with your weekly recap and update of what's been happening in Calgary in the real estate market. So the total sales in Calgary are down from 761 last April to 675 this year, so down 11%. Since it's the first one of May, just going to do a recap of April for everyone and see what happened last month. So new listings, 1,018 last year for all of April, whereas this year there was only 797 new listings, so that's down 22%. The active listings last year were 4,819. This year, 3,210, so down 33%. Average days on market are almost the same, 23 last year, 24 average days for April this year. The lack of inventory obviously is still keeping us in a strong seller's market. The bench price now is $550,800 for a detached. And how many sales do you think there were in all of April for Calgary?
I don't even know. I'd say 2,000.
3,000?
I got in the middle, 2,500.
Ding, 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 we have a winner.
Of course. Glad it goes the last.
2,690. 2,690 deals in 30 days.
And that's all inventory.
Yeah, that's Calgary sales. But inventory is down 32%. But strong sellers market still because of the low inventory. So
of course.
You want to touch on what's happening with the interest rates?
Yeah, the interest rates, we have our stats right here. So a fixed 3-year interest rate is 4.84%. And the 5-year is 4.39%, so a little bit of a dip there in the 5-year, but not too much. The variable rates are 3-year 5.6%, and the 5-year is 5.7%. People with a variable interest mortgage in the last 12 months have been feeling the heat a bit with the changes in the interest rates, but it's there hasn't been any other interest rate hikes announced, so that's good for the people in the variable side of things. So hopefully that stays how it is for a while here.
Yeah, we should be seeing the end of those hikes that everyone's been experiencing in the last 2 years, and plus spring is here, summer's around the corner, so it should be a busy time, exciting time for everyone.
Exactly.
And speaking of exciting time in town, Sebastian, what's going on in town?
Okay, yeah, some community events that are happening around Calgary. The Jimmy Buffett Escape to Margaritaville,
wow,
right at the Arts Common, runs until May 13th. That sounds exciting. I love Jimmy Buffett.
I'd love to go to that, fellas.
Yeah, and then we also got the Heritage Park Day Out with Thomas. Runs from May 6th to May 7th, and also May 12th to May 14th. And we also got the Wedding Singer at the Jubilations Dinner Theater, and that runs until June 3rd. So yeah, lots of fun things. Definitely looking forward to Jimmy Buffett's
So those 3 cool events, how can people attend? What is their website?
Yeah, all these things I'll link down in the description.
Okay.
So if you want to go find them, they're right there.
Awesome.
And they all got their websites. If you want to go to Jimmy Buffett, you go to the theatercalgary.com.
Okay.
And then Heritage Park for the Day Out with Thomas. And that's for a train ride, right? I believe that.
I think it is.
Yeah,
Day
there's
with
a train
Thomas.
ride. Like Thomas the Train.
Yeah, that's what
You love Thomas the Train.
I do.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir. Thomas the Train loves me.
Yeah. And yeah, those are some great things happening this month. So
Awesome. Exciting.
Shiraz, any listings you have on the market right now?
Lots.
Well, once you put one up, sells in a day in competing offers.
I know, man. I know.
I have a few listings coming up, but it's a situation where those clients, the seller, wants to get their second property first.
Yeah.
So I'm taking a few clients out right now. We're purchasing the property first. They're gonna move in, then I'm gonna list and sell because of the market we're in.
Nice.
Selling their home will be 1 or 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
So it's exciting to be able to promise them and see that you can sell their home relatively quickly and they can go ahead and find one comfortably first.
For sure.
So it's a really good time. So
Take away a lot of stress, I should imagine.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I imagine.
Yeah.
Yes. So Jonathan here. Welcome to Jonathan again from Red Brick Home Inspections. I've known Jonathan a long time. He's a very, very well-educated man, and he's my home inspector. So if you guys are looking for a good home inspector in town, Calgary, Airdrie, surrounding communities, Jonathan, Red Brick Home Inspections is your go-to. One thing I do want to talk about before Jonathan takes it here is for the public, you're going to hear this a little bit more, especially with inquiries about new builds and stuff. So radon, a lot of people hear that word, they may not know. So radon, it's an odorless and tasteless radioactive gas that is the breakdown of uranium in soil and rock. And if you have high levels of radon, it can actually cause cancer. So it's
Actually the second leading cause next to smoking for lung cancer in Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, yes.
So
That's
it's
crazy.
recommended to have a test, long-term test, because the levels of it can fluctuate. So you want to kind of do a test and then do another one at the end of the year. And for those that are interested and want to know more, it's kind of called a radon mitigation system. All new builds in Calgary must have a radon mitigation system. So it's a new code. And it's an average cost of about $2,000 to $2,500.
But worth it.
Of course,
Obviously.
safety first.
Yeah.
And there's certain communities in town, due to where they sit and where their levels are, and more rock in the foundations of where they are. Areas like Northwest Calgary, there's a lot of areas there where they have higher levels.
Yeah.
So, touching on that, let's say hello to Jonathan and.
Hi guys. Yeah.
Hello. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's
Yeah.
a pleasure to be here. Just to touch on that, just to add to that radon, the radon section there, I know a lot of people are they're concerned with health issues, and a lot of people have lung problems, and it essentially is breathing in toxic gas is not helpful when it comes to your health if you already have these lung issues. So it can be a good idea to look into that and maybe have long-term testing to know where you're at with your living conditions.
What do you mean long-term testing?
So long-term testing would be 90 days plus. Radon can fluctuate from season to season. It can also change depending on the movement within the house. It tends to gravitate towards staying within the basement level, and so mostly getting some ventilation within that lower level of the home is key to fresh air in, moves the stale air out, and so with that goes the radon gas.
Cool.
Yeah, so a lot of people will offer short-term testing. It really is kind of a 3 to 5 day window within the home at that time. It's not very accurate really when it comes to a home sale. I would recommend that people maybe do a long-term test, which would be 90 days plus.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And Red Brick Home Inspections, talk to us about your company and
Sure, yeah.
when you started, why you started. I love having you and seeing you and working together on deals, and
Yeah,
I've done a lot of inspections for me, very, very meticulous, so I really appreciate your service, and I'm excited to have you here. So please tell us about, start from the beginning.
Sure, yeah. So, well, we worked together for a long time, and so our relationship's been many, many years. And
I'm sorry to hear that. No,
no,
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry to hear that. No, we love
it's
Strauss.
not all bad.
Yeah.
Trust me. I get a break from you.
That's too lot.
Yeah, Red Brick Homes came about from just a change in career direction for myself. Came from 26 years of precision work in oil and gas and engineering, and the details from engineering and making things moves over to the details of the home and having an eye for spotting the defects, taking the home for its relevant condition. You're not going to have a home that is 40 years old with the same conditions a home that is 4 months old. So you have to take all this into account. So
Speaking to that, have you done some cool inspections on like a 1910 Sunnyside place, like those old homes?
Yeah.
I've done. I think the oldest home is 1956. It was a full renovation. But having said that, the structure, the roof, is all the same. So you do have to be looking close at the way things are built and the methods used. Methods slightly change over the years, and even more so now with codes, safety energy efficiency. Lots of these things change pretty quickly now these days, and so keeping up with what should be in place and what to expect is key. But yeah, I really enjoy laying out for people so they know exactly what they're buying. So when they move in, they don't have any surprises.
Yeah,
because it is a we mentioned, very stressful situation moving. There's lots to take care of, and it wants to be stressful and joyous, not disappointing. So all working together to make that happy moment is what it takes.
Yeah. And what I suggest to a lot of sellers, you're interested in listing and selling your home, because obviously now is the time. This is the busiest time. So a lot of sellers don't do what, in my opinion, they should, which is have a pre-listing inspection. It's really advantageous and powerful for you to already have an inspection done on your home as a part of your listing.
Yeah.
If a buyer comes along and wants their own, they can go ahead and do it, but 9 times out of 10, seeing that there's one by a professional home inspector already done and they're available for them to review and check. Plus it gives the seller all the answers to their questions they may have. Well, I've had this house for this many years, I think it's okay, but they don't really know. So even if there's a few things, they can show and tell the public and a prospective buyer, like, oh, 1 or 2 things came up, this is the inspection report, and I dealt with them.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people don't realise what they're living with on a day-to-day basis, and when I mean now, I don't mean the colour of the paint or the conditions of the cabinets. You'd be surprised how many people actually are living with active gas leaks, right by their furnaces.
Mold or
I did a townhome inspection just a couple of weeks ago. This gas pipeline into the furnace wouldn't have been touched for 6 years, and it was actively leaking gas into the basement to where you could smell it.
Dangerous.
Dangerous, no kidding.
People living there had no idea. So it's not necessarily about what people think it is. We did delve deep into the systems and the safety, and just to know that you're passing on a nice safe product to somebody else is probably a good stand too.
Well, the other advantage of doing the pre-listing inspection too is, like, I had a seller recently who didn't do that, and then the buyer brought a different inspector than he would have used, and a bunch of things came up that he didn't think were going to come up, and it was almost that, I don't want to say he was insulted, but when the buyer was asking for some money off for this and that, and it kind of went from a certain list price to now you're $10,000-$15,000 lower, so your expectation is really high.
Yeah.
So I think that's an advantage of having the pre-listing one, because then at least you get to pick your own company that you trust. You get everything laid out for you, so then when the buyer does their home inspection, you're not surprised and
exactly.
So it's caught off guard.
And then you can use it as a negotiating tool. Be like, no, the price has been already adjusted for those defects in the home.
Exactly.
Or you have your list of receipts of what's been fixed,
taken
care of, service
exactly,
that kind of thing. When you, like I say, when you pass it on to the next people, there's no excuses to come back with,
100%.
hey, we offer you less because X, Y, and Z. Like, no, X, Y, and Z have been taken care of, and and that's a good path forward. You get your list price, or you get close to it, and then you, like say, moving forward, you know what you're dealing with the next home.
So talk to us a little about something common that people hear, kind of get discouraged or worried when it's, in my opinion, not a big worry, which is they feel like their attic is leaking, or their roof is leaking, and they find condensation or even a small pool of water in their attic, and people are calling this attic rain, right? So it's insulation in the attic, and all you need to do to rectify it is to add additional insulation, correct?
Yeah, it's moisture buildup, attic rain, as people like to call it, is a combination of ventilation, insulation, and keeping a check on the attic on a regular basis. I always recommend that at least once a year you take a look up there, see what's going on, and just to see the condition. You can tell a lot by the condition of the attic, with mold, possible mold growth or staining. You should always you should always take a look at the sheathing underneath to make sure your roof surface is really good condition still. You don't want to have water getting into the home, and 98% of water in the home is moisture. Comes from showers, cooking, watering plants, just general living in the home, and a lot of that moisture makes its way up into the attic because it naturally comes from the thermal movement, hot to cold.
Yeah.
Heat likes to go to the cold space. Cold space is the attic. Moisture moves with that air, and it collects in the attic, and so this is where you get your droplets form, attic rain. So usually, if there is a case of moisture in the attic, it's sometimes just enough of just the way your living habits change can be enough to make that difference to where you get more moisture in the attic. I've heard on numerous occasions that people have done inspections for in previous homes have had to add extra ventilation to move that air and moisture on. So sometimes things are done to a minimum when it comes to homes being built, and just adding a few extra square feet of ventilation is enough just to keep the air dry in the attic space. Yeah.
I'm curious about home inspection. Just with like car inspections, they have like a 60-point inspection, 120-point inspection. How many I don't know if you guys go by points inspection. How many different things do you inspect?
I think when it comes to home inspection, every inspector is going to do their job differently, and this is why there's such a range in I think maybe respect for the industry. Some people, like any industry, some people do it well, some people don't do it so well.
Yeah.
Some people need to get onto that next appointment, to cover their costs, and so they wrap up real quick. Maybe they don't look at things as quite as detailed as they should. But when it comes to 60-point, or it's not the way that I see a home. A home has every home is different. Everyone's needs in homes are different, as you would know. You deal with lots of different people, lots of different homes layouts. And so you have to take. I said before, you have to take each home for its own condition, its own merit, and how it stands, what's involved in that home. Some basements are developed. Some homes have original furnaces, and so. But when it comes to maybe breaking it down, there's specific points. So there would be the exterior, and added on top of that would be the roof, the foundation and structure, and then the landscaping and grade. It's important to keep the water away from the home. Then moving into the home, it would be attic space, and then each room's condition, so the electrical, the windows. Then bathrooms would be plumbing, general conditions, and then down to the basement. Same thing with the kitchen too. Plumbing. Down to the basement would be your foundation, your structure again, and then your furnace and your whole water system, your plumbing, visible plumbing, and so it is broken down into different sections, and each section involves a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on the home. So there is definitely a mental checklist that I go through to cover things off. But when it comes to checklists, if things are done by a checklist, I would say they're probably not done correctly, because you just can't check things off like that. Every
home is different.
Every home is different, and so you really have to look at what it involves within the home and take it for what it is.
And how long does a home inspection take usually?
So on average, 2,000, 2,500 square foot home is around 3.5 hours. Doesn't really make a big difference whether the basement is developed or not. There's a little bit more involved in a basement, development, because you can't see as much. So you need to pull out your handy tools like your infrared camera just to make sure that things are good as they are around the walls. Yeah, about 3.5 hours. Yeah.
And you do one a day to keep like quality over quantity? Do you stick to doing one a day, or do you do multiple in one day?
No, I do actually do one a day. I find that one a day, I'd like to keep the quality, like I say, the quality there. And if you force yourself into rushing things, this is when things get overlooked, maybe missed. I have done 2 in a day, but then the next day is all reports. So you do get a dedicated day. You do need to look over the pictures properly and look in, zoom in and check on details. These great bits of kit now, 20, 40 megapixel cameras, and you get some great details, so you really can figure out what's going on and get an accurate idea of the condition of things, systems. Yeah.
So you're enjoying it?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I like coming from that regular 7 to 4 kind of job. It's to follow that structure. It's nice to have maybe a morning to yourself. Maybe you get an afternoon inspection. You take it easy in the morning. Coffee on the deck. Chatting with friends, and then maybe you get an early morning appointment. And your day is taken up, and then you get a day off. It's. I enjoy it, yeah, it's nice. It's completely different to what I came from, and I'm really enjoying it. I do like to see that people are satisfied too with what I produce with my report, and them knowing fully the condition of the property they're about to put a big amount of money down.
Right.
It's a big move, big responsibility to lay down all that cash, and you have to know you're making the right decisions.
Right. So any cool, funny stories? What's the funniest thing? Do you ever see anything unexpected when you're going to a home, or somebody
Were you
there?
ever in an attic and saw an animal jump out at you, or a weird doll that gave you weird eyes or something like that?
I did an inspection around just before Christmas time, and as the basement was developed, it's pretty dark down there, and it's I don't know, the lighting wasn't very good, and walked into a bedroom to take a look around and try and find the light switch. I couldn't find the light switch. I don't know which wall it was on. I looked in front of me, and there was a life-size Santa hiding behind boxes, and his head and shoulders just above the boxes, and staring right at me like made me jump.
Yeah, no kidding. I'd be freaked out. I'd be really freaked out.
And then there's another time I did an inspection last summer on a duplex home, and sometimes the buyers will come along and take a look around too at the same time, and they happened to be out in the garden talking to the realtor, and I was checking the fireplace, looking around the fireplace, and there's certain things you have to check, and I was trying the damper and checking the damper door, and as I opened up the damper on the chimney, 3 dried up mummified little birds rolled out with a bunch of soot and across a nice clean hardwood floor.
Oh man!
And I'm like hurrying to clean up, and I'm like, what do I do with these? Like, I can't throw them back up. They already stay up there.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
That's why I couldn't be a home inspector. I'd be stuffing them back up.
House is good.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
So you're done early. Well, we're good.
Don't worry about this.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Don't worry, folks. That's why Zach's gonna get Jonathan.
Yeah, that's why I do the selling, the buying and selling, and he does the inspection. So
we've got you covered. That's okay.
Good. I got you covered. So there you go. For the viewers, what's like the worst for money wise to fix? What is the worst thing you can come across?
There's a few things in the home that do cost a lot of money. We all know furnaces are expensive, hot water tanks, re-roofing maybe.
Yeah.
I think the thing that worries people the most is foundation issues.
Yeah.
A huge percentage of homes in this area, when they pour the concrete, the concrete does dry relatively quickly. The stress is in the concrete. They have to come out somewhere. They'll come out in a small micro crack, if you like, but as soon as you mention the word crack next to the word foundation, people get worried. It's but it's so common to see them, and it's just natural with the movement of the seasons and the different temperature differences within, you can be talking kind of 60 degrees from one season to another, maybe more than that. These things affect outside of the home. I think that's one of the things that people find maybe the most worrying, which really isn't that worrying at all.
I would say the roof, in my opinion, if you have to redo a roof, that might be the most expensive.
Yeah, I would think that though, replacing the furnace is probably a bit more expensive
than a roof.
I'd say.
I believe so.
Or poly B piping.
Yeah. Well, poly B is another thing that is very worrying.
All the plumbing in the whole house.
Yeah, that can be a few $1,000s, $6,000-7,000 for sure.
And it's like one of those things where it's like, if it hasn't broken yet, why not replace it? Some insurance companies, they'll charge a premium for those.
Yeah, they won't touch it at all. Right?
Yeah.
Some, But having said that too, people maybe don't realise that if it's poly B to your water meter in the home, you still have the responsibility of that poly B from your water meter to the road surface. And so you may change the poly B in the home, but you still have that section that you're never going to change because it's too expensive digging up the garden, and so you're still going to be a little bit of that on the property. You just can't get around. Sometimes it's copper, but usually the case it's it can't be the same. So yeah.
Have you had an inspection that, in your opinion, was like a fail? You had like a really bad. I guess it's not really a fail. It's up to them to proceed or not.
It's a fail more on the buyer's side, whether they want to put that money into fixing it.
Yeah, I would never say it's a pass or fail. There's nothing really.
You're too nice. I'd be a fail. Your home sucks.
There's nothing that can't be fixed, right? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how bad a condition something is. Really, okay, it might be more cost effective to really old home to put it down and start again.
Yeah.
New standards, new space, new size, that kind of thing. But when it comes to fixing things in homes, the majority of things that home inspection would pull out, they can all be fixed, and I don't think there's too much really to worry about. This is where it comes back to the negotiation before buy and that kind of thing. But
one common thing too is the attic hatch, the entrance into the attic.
Yeah.
That square cutout, sometimes it's missed where it doesn't have the proper seal, and then you can get condensation just in those walls of where the opening is.
So just to add to that, like pass-fail kind of thing, I think it's more prevalent with new homes. I think a lot of people don't have new homes inspected because builder warranty or new home warranty is included. But I have experienced new built homes that aren't up to code. And just to touch on the attic idea is, you're supposed to have by code a certain depth of insulation for energy efficiency, and they update these codes on a regular basis. And I don't think that a lot of chances is not checked properly. And so I have come across, even in new homes, the not the right amount of insulation, and then you live in a home for a few years, and then you get back to this attic rain deal where you don't have enough insulation, and you expect to have enough because it's a new home and everything is done to code. So just because something is new doesn't mean to say that it's toes the line. So
Have you had that classic, the dad's showing up with his daughter who's buying a house, and he thinks he's a home inspector and he's following you around?
I've had it a couple of times. Dad shows up and usually they hit you with a couple of what they think are hard questions, and when you knock back some good good knowledge and some good answers,
facts kill.
They step back and they'll leave pretty early. But once they know their door's in good hands, like usual, it's you're safe. So.
It's safe with me.
And I like that you encourage the agent and of course the client to be there with you. Is it
Yes.
for the entire process or at the end?
So I leave it open. I leave it absolutely open. It's some people have really busy daily schedules, and so they can't be there the whole time. I know 3.5 hours is a long time. It takes a lot of someone's day, and but I do encourage them to be there at least towards the end. So, but when I've done the inspection, I know the things that need to be looked at. I can point them out and say, you'll see this in the report. You'll see this in the report. And so these are the things that maybe you should be taking note of.
Okay.
So how much is a home inspection for buyers?
So it depends on the size of the home.
Yeah.
It range from around the 400 mark
Yeah.
to the 550 mark,
Yeah.
depending on size. Average home, average size, 450 to 500.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
What about additional if it's an acreage? Is there any differences? For
with acreages, it's more. There's usually outbuildings.
Yeah.
A little bit more to look at. So you'd be up there at the higher end of things.
And I know that there's different kinds of inspections. Which categories of inspections do you do? Do you do the mold as well?
So I offer right now pre-inspection for pre-listing. I offer before buy inspections, like the regular home inspection before you close the deal.
Yeah.
I offer a yearly maintenance inspection, so if people want to know kind of their idea of where the home is at. Been living here 15, 10
Yeah.
years, and we're just not sure, like, do we need to update, how's our furnace, how's the outside of the home, I can do that too, like I call it a yearly maintenance inspection. And then I'm always there for follow-up talks if someone's had an inspection and they're unsure of, I've just moved in, or I'm about to close on the home, I'm just unsure about this part of it within the report. I'm always there to answer questions and emails
Nice.
too. So
That's really good.
Yeah.
Over and above. I know some inspectors for like inspections I did in the past before you opened your company. And yeah, they would do the inspection, and after that, a client would call me and want me to answer
Yeah.
questions. I can't reach the
Yeah.
inspector. He's like, look at the report. There's a few guys that are like, oh, well, you got the report, right?
Yeah, I think the common theme from our show and our guests these last six episodes is that all our guests like go above and beyond for their clients, and we try to do the same thing as agents. Like there's doing your job and getting paid to do your job in a certain time frame and doing stuff in that timeline, but it's what you do after and how available you are to conversations and to help. And people don't want to feel like they have a home inspector that they can't call because he's off business hours or he's going to be pissed off that they have questions that were already answered. Like that's not. That's the same with us. Like you do
You
stuff.
can't read?
Yeah,
I sent you the report.
Yeah. No,
Age
exactly.
15.
yeah. You're just sitting there with your feet up. Yeah, no, it's good. That's been a
I think you're taking someone's money, so you have to be respectful and grateful for that,
Yeah.
and show after sales service, and
Yeah.
you don't know who they talk to. Maybe they talk to their friend, and their friend's going to sell them. You use this guy; he's great.
And it's all about referrals.
It's
Yeah, just like
all
you
of our
guys,
business. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Won't go very far as a realtor if your referral business is not good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Can't live off one deal a year, right?
no, I wish. No.
Private drinks.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Jonathan?
I want to, or you can go, but
I wanted to ask if do you have, as a home inspector, let's just say you go into a property and you think it should be condemned or you think it's not livable. Do you have a responsibility to report that, or that's up to the home buyer or the seller?
Yeah. So I have a duty of care to myself.
Yeah.
As well as the people I'm doing the report for, and so if a property is really in that bad condition, it's just not safe for me to be in there. I do have the equipment, the protective equipment, but you have to make an educated professional decision and say, look, this place needs maybe some remediation, or
Mm-hmm.
because fires happen and there's grow ops and that kind of thing, right? So you have to assess it that it's safe for people to be in there, just like it is for yourself, and make that call. And if you don't do the inspection, well then maybe you're knocked back on the fee, right?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't complete it, so yeah.
Then my question was just, how did you go from precision engineering to wanting to be a home inspector? Like, what was the shift there?
Well, it's actually came about by just a conversation that I had with somebody I worked with, probably 3 years prior to even like one of the career change.
Yeah.
And I happened to be kind of needing something to do, so I kind of looked into it a little bit, and I just started. I have an interest in taking care of my own things anyway, so I take care of my own home. Always have. I take care of my own cars. I like to learn. I like to know about how things work and how they operate. And I just started taking some of the courses online, and it kind of led, into getting the certification, and that led into getting the licensing, and that led to building the website. I built my own website, and
that led to red brick home inspections.
And here we are today.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of funny how it just progresses one step at a time, and
that's awesome.
Just enjoying it, and
So do you inspect your own homes?
I did inspect my own home. I had my home built 13 years ago, and never looked at a single thing until I started doing this course. I cleaned the furnace and check things over, and you look around the house, look at the roof on a regular basis to make sure things are still good. And but it wasn't until I started doing these certifications and I got the licensing, like, okay, I need to practice to make sure I'm good in front of people, make sure things are dialed in. And it's funny because I did my own home as an inspection a few times to get used to how my tools work and how to get the best system for myself, and actually found a water leak on my back deck. Water was slowly getting in. Some of the trim just needed a bit of resealing, recaulking, and but it was enough that there was damp in the basement and some mold growing down the studs. So you think you live in a nice, clean, comfortable home, but you'd be surprised what you can find.
How can people reach out to you?
So website, it's www.redbrickhomeinspections.ca, and contact details are there. Also phone number 403-801-9316. Based out of Airdrie, but I go from Olds to Okotoks, Canmore to Strathmore, and so everywhere in between, basically.
Nice.
So cover the bases. Yeah.
And you have Instagram?
Find me on Instagram. It's Red Brick Home Inspections on Instagram, and you follow along there if you're interested in some of the finds. And
yeah, I do follow it, of course, and there are some interesting photos that you posted and things you found, and cute little tidbits for everyone as homeowners and realtors as well, to be like, keep an eye on this.
You can learn a lot from other people's mistakes, problems, issues, and just by seeing.
It's like you said, it's like out of sight, out of mind. They're enjoying their day to day. They go to work, they come home, hanging out, relaxing at home. They're not really
you're not paying attention to things, really. I think a lot of people, you walk around your home and you never look up. You don't look at the ceiling, unless you see water dripping.
You should give them an upkeep checklist or something, like on the 1 year, on the 5 year, like have these looked at, or call me for like a soft inspection, or maybe it's like $100 of your time to do like a check, right?
I do have a simple kind of maintenance checklist.
Yeah, maintenance.
That is requested on occasions. Like even something as simple as your smoke detectors. You'd be surprised at how many people live with old equipment that really isn't reliable. And
I've showed some houses where you know how they're interconnected, so if one's going, they're all going to beep and chirp, and if you take one out, they're all going to go
for
off.
sure.
So I've showed some houses, and my clients, they're like, "Where are the smoke detectors?" And they've all just been removed.
Sounds like a girl on.
So,
Oh yeah, don't worry about the smoke. You'll see it, right?
Yeah, jeez. Holy.
Unless you're sleeping, obviously.
Yeah.
but no, thank you very much for
Yeah, thanks
being
for having
on.
me. Yeah, it's a pleasure. Yeah,
Learned a lot, and everyone, please, if you want to have your home looked at for yourself, if you don't want to have a full inspection and you're curious, you're in a home for a few years, he just mentioned that there's like a soft inspection, a maintenance check. So take advantage of those things and reach out to Jonathan, reach out to us, and
You already have a realtors. Now you got a home inspector.
There you
so
go.
we're building the whole deal together for you.
All right.
All right, guys.
Anything special?
No, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure. Yeah.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah. Until next week. See you guys.